Corsica 1769, a year and place that would mark the beginning of a journey that would change the course of history. A Mediterranean island, sun-drenched, proud. Its rugged terrain and resilient people shaped by centuries of conflict and culture. It was here, amidst ancient feuds and simmering rebellion, that Napoleon Bonaparte was born. His birth was a spark in a land already ablaze with the fires of resistance. A restless child, small in stature but large in ambition. From a young age, he was driven by a fierce determination to rise above his humble beginnings. He dreamed of glory, of escaping the confines of his island home. His mind was filled with visions of grandeur and conquest, far beyond the shores of Corsica. The French Revolution ignited, a conflagration sweeping away the old order. The streets of Paris ran red with the blood of change, and the world watched as France was reborn in chaos. Napoleon, a young artillery officer, saw opportunity amidst the chaos. He recognized that the revolution was not just a time of destruction, but a chance for new leaders to emerge. He pledged allegiance to the revolution, his star beginning its meteoric ascent. His loyalty to the cause and his military prowess quickly set him apart from his peers. The revolution devoured its children, but Napoleon was a survivor. He navigated the treacherous waters of political intrigue and emerged stronger with each passing day. He honed his military skills, his tactical brilliance shining through. His strategies and battlefield tactics became legendary, earning him respect and fear in equal measure. He craved action, his name whispered in the corridors of power. His ambition knew no bounds, and he was always ready for the next challenge, the next conquest. France, weary of bloodshed, yearned for a strong hand. The nation was desperate for stability, for a leader who could bring order to the chaos. Napoleon, the outsider, the Corsican, would answer their call. He would rise to power not just as a military leader, but as a symbol of hope and strength for a nation in turmoil. France was at war, a continent in arms against the new republic. Napoleon, barely in his 20s, was given command. His battlefield was Italy, his enemy the Austrians. He was audacious, lightning fast, a master of maneuver. Victory followed victory, his name on everyone's lips. He was a soldier's general, sharing their hardships, inspiring their loyalty. He promised them glory and plunder, and he delivered. His enemies underestimated him, dismissing him as an upstart. They would learn their lesson on blood-soaked battlefields. Italy fell to the young general, his legend growing with each victory. Italy lay vanquished, Napoleon's reputation soaring. He returned to France a conquering hero, but danger lurked in the shadows. The revolution had spun out of control, its ideals drowned in blood. The Directory, corrupt and weak, clung to power. Napoleon, ambitious and ruthless, saw his chance. He would be the savior of the revolution, restoring order, crushing its enemies. He plotted with Talleyrand, the master diplomat, and Fouché, the cunning minister of police. The coup was swift, bloodless. The Directory toppled. Napoleon seized control. He declared himself first consul, the most powerful man in France. First consul, but not enough. Napoleon craved legitimacy, the mantle of ancient kings. He would be crowned emperor not by the Pope, but by his own hand. The ceremony was spectacular, a calculated display of power. He placed the crown upon his own head, a symbol of his self-made destiny. France rejoiced. Here was a leader who promised stability, who embodied their aspirations. Napoleon, the outsider, had become the embodiment of France, but his ambition knew no bounds. He had conquered France, now he would conquer Europe. The Napoleonic Wars had begun. Section 5, Emperor of the French. Napoleon Bonaparte, a name that would be etched in the annals of history, rose from obscurity to become one of the most powerful figures in Europe. Austria, Prussia, Russia, Britain, all felt the force of Napoleon's ambition. His relentless drive for dominance saw him challenge and defeat some of the most formidable powers of his time. He marched his armies across Europe, his victories echoing across the continent. From the rolling hills of Italy to the vast plains of Eastern Europe, his military campaigns were legendary. Austerlitz, Jena, Friedland, names that struck fear into the hearts of his enemies. These battles showcased his strategic brilliance and the might of his Grande Armée. He was a master tactician, a military genius, his Grande Armée seemingly invincible. His ability to outmaneuver and outthink his adversaries was unparalleled. He redrew the map of Europe, creating vassal states, placing his relatives on foreign thrones. His influence extended far beyond the battlefield, reshaping the political landscape of the continent. He was the master of Europe, but his triumphs came at a cost. The relentless pursuit of power and glory led to widespread devastation and suffering. Millions died in his wars, their blood staining the snow of Russia, the sands of Egypt. The human cost of his ambition was staggering, leaving a legacy of both awe and sorrow. Section 6. Europe at his feet. Napoleon was not content with military glory. He yearned to be a lawgiver, a builder. He commissioned grand monuments, roads, canals, reshaping France in his own image. He reformed the legal system, creating the Napoleonic Code, a model for legal systems across the world. He patronized the arts and sciences, believing in the power of education. He established the Bank of France, stabilizing the economy. He was a complex figure, a tyrant and a reformer, driven by a boundless energy and a thirst for achievement. Section 7. The Code Napoleon. His empire stretched from Spain to Poland, but cracks were beginning to show. Nationalism, a force Napoleon himself had unleashed, was turning against him. His enemies, England, Russia, Prussia, regrouped, fueled by their hatred of the French emperor. The Peninsular War in Spain drained French resources, a running sore that would not heal. The British, led by the Duke of Wellington, fought with tenacity, wearing down the French armies. Napoleon's star, which had shone so brightly, was beginning to dim. Section 8. The Spanish Ulcer. Russia, the sleeping giant, stirred. Napoleon, overconfident, led his Grande Armée on a catastrophic invasion. The vastness of Russia, the scorching heat, the bitter cold, all conspired against him. He reached Moscow, but it was a Pyrrhic victory. The city burned, his army starving and freezing. The retreat was a nightmare, a desperate struggle for survival. Thousands perished, victims of the cold, of starvation, of Cossack raids. The Russian campaign broke the back of Napoleon's army and shattered his aura of invincibility. Section 9. Disaster in the snow. His enemies sensed weakness. They closed in for the kill. Napoleon, betrayed by his own marshals, was forced to abdicate. He was exiled to Elba, a tiny island off the coast of Italy, but the eagle, as Napoleon was known, would fly again. He escaped Elba, landing back in France to wild acclaim. The 100 Days had begun, a desperate gamble to regain his lost empire. He raised an army, but the odds were stacked against him. His enemies united, determined to crush him once and for all. Section 10. Exile of an Emperor. Waterloo, a small Belgian town, became the stage for Napoleon's final act. He faced Wellington's British army and the Prussian forces arriving to their aid. The battle raged all day, a brutal, bloody affair. In the end, Napoleon's luck ran out. He was defeated, his empire dreams shattered. This time, there would be no escape. He was exiled to St. Helena, a remote island in the South Atlantic, his spirit finally broken. He spent his final years dictating his memoirs, crafting his legend. In Section 11. The Napoleonic Legend. Napoleon Bonaparte, a name that resonates through the annals of history, is a figure whose life and legacy continue to captivate and divide opinions. Napoleon died in exile on the remote island of St. Helena in 1821 at the age of 51. His final years were spent in isolation, far from the grandeur and power he once wielded. In 1840, nearly 2 decades after his death, his body was returned to France. He was buried in a grand tomb at Les Invalides in Paris, a resting place befitting his complex legacy. Napoleon remains a controversial figure to this day. To some, he is seen as a tyrant who sacrificed millions of lives to satisfy his insatiable ambition. His relentless pursuit of power led to widespread devastation across Europe. Yet he was also a brilliant military strategist, a charismatic leader who inspired loyalty and admiration among his troops. His innovative tactics and battlefield prowess are still studied in military academies around the world. Beyond his military achievements, Napoleon was a reformer. He introduced the Napoleonic Code, a comprehensive set of civil laws that still forms the basis of legal systems in many countries today. This code emphasized clearly written and accessible law, a legacy that endures. His military campaigns from the Italian peninsula to the vast expanse of Russia are legendary. They are meticulously analysed for their strategic brilliance and the lessons they offer to modern military leaders. Napoleon's name continues to evoke a range of emotions, from awe and admiration to condemnation and criticism. His life story is a complex tapestry of ambition, genius, and the darker aspects of human nature. Napoleon Bonaparte, the Corsican artillery officer who rose to become Emperor of the French, remains a figure of endless fascination. His life is a testament to the enduring power of ambition, the brilliance of strategic genius, and the human capacity for both great good and profound evil. His legacy, both celebrated and vilified, continues to shape our understanding of leadership, power, and the intricate dance of history.